There are times in the Bible when history repeats itself. And it's in Genesis chapter 20 that we read about a story that sounds very similar to a story we had heard not many chapters previous. It's Abraham and his wife Sarah. And Sarah must be a very beautiful woman because it seems like everywhere Abraham goes, he's getting into trouble because of his pretty wife. And it was in chapter 12 that the king of Egypt saw Sarah. And he took her to be his wife because Abraham had told everyone that this wasn't his wife, it was his sister. And he did this to protect himself so that nobody would kill him to take his wife. And so, the king of Egypt takes Sarah, and a great illness comes upon the household, and it's like, very bad luck, and tragedies are going on, and they realize that a curse has happened against them. And the king of Egypt finds out that this was not just Abraham's sister, this was his wife. And so, he gives the wife back and he repents, and everything goes back to the way it was. A very similar story happens in chapter 20. The king of Gerar, Abimelech, believes that Sarah is Abraham's sister, because that's what he's been telling everybody in order to keep himself safe. And he takes Sarah, who's got to be like 100 years old at this time. She must still be very pretty, and they didn't have plastic surgery back then, so it's very remarkable. And he takes her believing that it's totally fine, and then a curse comes on his household, and nobody can bear children. And he goes to Abraham and finds out that it's not just his half sister, but it's also his wife. It's a huge mess, and he asks, why didn't you tell me? And then he gives Sarah back, and Abraham has his prayer at the end. I think is really important for us to read. It's in verse 17. Abraham prayed to God, and God healed Abimelech, his wife and his slave girl, so that they could also have children. For the Lord had closed up every woman in Abimelech's household because of Abraham's wife, Sarah. And so here we have this horrible curse, this horrible disorder, and going on in this household. And everybody's health is in some way forfeit because of the sin that's going on here. And of course, God, who has created us, he has the ability to heal us. He has the ability to set our bodies right, to fix us. And obviously, in this situation, Abraham knows this. Abraham knows that the God who can do anything, the God who has called him to have a son, the God who has brought him together with his wife and brought him into this new land, this God has amazing powers and can do wondrous things. And so this whole household, Abimelech and his wife and everyone, they're healed by the power of God. And one point I want to clarify, even though we have in this text a disease, a disorder happening, some physical ailment happening because of a sin, this is not always the case. Sometimes in the Bible it is, but it is not always the case. There are times when people get ailments or are born with certain things like blindness, and it has nothing to do with their sins or the sins of their parents. So I just want to clarify about that sin is not always connected to our broken state of our bodies. But no matter what, God can both heal us, and he also can forgive us. He can both clean us of unrighteousness, and he can also make us the way we're supposed to be. And we know that one day he's going to give us brand new bodies. It's going to be remarkable, and we're continuing to be regenerated as God's people, and we're in this in-between phase where there are moments where we experience these internal qualities, and we see healing happening as the kingdom is breaking through, but there are moments when we don't. And we know that that's because we have a sovereign God who makes his own decisions, and a lot of times those decisions are a mystery to us, but we know that one day there'll be no more disease, no more cancer, no more death, and we will be with our God.